I probably can count on one hand how many mostly black casted horror movies exist in the world. And I think I am the perfect person to tell you whether or not that this film is worth watching. Come find out. Welcome to Cine here, where you come for all of your media needs. My name is Ray, and today I am reviewing The Blackening, directed by Tim Story, starring Antonia Robertson, Sinqua Walls, Dwayne Perkins, X Mayo, Grace Bauer, and Jermaine Fowler. And last but not least, Melvin Gregg. This is a comedy horror film about a group of black friends who are taking a trip to a cabin in the wood where a masked man makes them play a game to prove their blackness. Being that this is a comedy horror film, Tim Stories definitely put comedy first. And that's fine as long as you know what to expect going into this film, because it is definitely more like the Wayans Brother, the Scary Movie franchise, than it is what Jordan Peele is doing with Nope and Get Out. And anytime you hitch your wagon to making a movie that is more centered around comedy, you are more likely to fail. And that is only because comedy is so subjective. So if someone does not get the jokes, or if the jokes are not landing, the movie suffers. But in this case, I do believe that the film did a good job of having decent humor. Do all of the jokes in this film land? No. But what I can say is that enough of them landed for me to say that I enjoyed my time in the theater as I watched this film. There was enough jokes that landed to where the movie never felt too dry with the lack of jokes that did not land. My biggest criticism about this film was the lack of horror. They did not execute on the second portion of the comedy/horror part. They missed the horror part completely. Does it have elements of a horror film? Yes. But at any moment, I never felt any level of tension or fear during this film. And if you are enjoying this review so far, make sure that you hit the like button so that you can see more of this content. But let me get back to the review. As far as the acting in this film, I do believe that everybody did a good job. All shades of black was represented in this film, and I can commend them for having a film like this, because many of those type of films do not exist. I would have loved to have a better musical score in this film, especially when you think how great Jordan Peele does in his horror films with the score. I would have loved for this film to have a great score as well, but I did not get that. Another thing I have to give Tim Stories and the writers of this film credit for was trying to address that every shade of black is still black. No matter if you have a white parent, no matter if you are gay, no matter if you are not what people think black is, we all are beautiful shades of black, and black is not just one thing. We are not a monolith, and this film tried to tackle that issue in a comedic way. With all that being said, I will have to give The Blackening a 6.9 out of 10. I do believe that this film is something that is worth watching. And yes, it might lack a whole lot in the horror department, but it kind of makes up for it in the comedy department. And I do like the direction that this film is going, and I hope that Tim Stories and others can build upon what we've seen in this and give us more black horror films, not only just in the comedy space, but also in the more dramatic and thriller tone as well. If you enjoyed this review, make sure that you give it a like. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more of it, please make sure you subscribe or follow to the page so that you can do so. And do not let the conversation in here. I need to know what are some of your favorite black horror films, and where do you think that this film falls in all of those films. And don't forget, you seen it here.